All right, yet another interview where we are still at the special exhibit here at the 2023 Munich Show. I am here with my good buddy, Albert Russ. Al, we met, I want to say, here in Munich, I think it was 2011 or 2012. Yeah, one of those two. Peter Lyckberg introduced us, and the second I saw your work, I immediately was a fan, and we've kept up a great friendship ever since. Albert has a new book. He's released a book before. It was a book on ice that also went with a special exhibit you did up at the Tellier mine in Sainte Marie.
Yeah.
And we covered that in What's Hot in Sainte Marie. But you have a new book now. So I'm going to flip the camera around, and Albert's going to tell us a little bit about his new book. He's going to crack the cover. We're going to take a look at some of the photos in there. And by the way, speaking of photos, see that blue background? That is actually a photo that Albert took of, was it a glacier?
It was in an ice cave.
It was in an ice cave.
Yeah. And there's a long story behind this photo behind the trip on this day.
Awesome. Okay, well, maybe we'll get a short version of that.
Maybe.
But Albert also has some of his ice prints here. So we'll take a quick look at that. But first, let's take a look at the book. Let me go ahead and flip the camera around, and we're gonna really enjoy this because I love this guy's work. All right, Albert, let's see the cover of the book first.
Yes.
And Minerals of Slovakia. And obvious, you're Slovakian, and this is something that's very near and dear to your heart. Talk to us a little bit about the inspiration for putting together a book on the minerals of Slovakia, because that's not an easy thing to do. It's a real commitment. It has to be a project of love. So give us kind of a glimpse behind your the catalyst, the inspiration that had you create this book.
Thank you, Brian. Well, this book, the first idea to create this book happened about 16 years ago.
16 years ago. Yeah.
This was at the time when I thought that I did good mineral photography. I'm glad I didn't know how bad it was at the time. Yeah. Because if I knew, I would just discontinue doing it. But then I continued trying. So it was focusing to better and better. Yeah. And over the last couple of years, I came back to this idea, this dream, to create and self-publish a book as an art form, as something like a gallery with the best or the most incredible, the most diverse, and yet aesthetic specimen that came out of Slovakia. So
this is you and I were together on assignment in Ukraine at Volodarsk mine. And you did a lot of photography there, so you have had a lot of exposure of different kinds of minerals. Why did you choose Slovakia to be the focus of this new book?
Well, it's a country where I was born, where I lived, and of course there was also the possibility of access. One other reason is that there was one book which was called the same way, but only in Slovak, Minerals of Slovakia.
Okay.
And this was the first book I have ever had as some form of,
like a
trigger, inspiration.
Okay. It was a catalyst.
It was a catalyst for me to do mineral collecting, later mineral photography, and even as an 8, 9, 10-year-old, I was flipping over the book many evenings before I went to sleep.
I love it. So this is your version of maybe even capturing some of that excitement from the childhood.
Yes.
Let's go ahead, crack it open, and we'll take a look at some of the pages here.
Well, the cover, of course, it's one of my favorite quartz specimens.
Is this from your personal collection?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, it's very, very strange and unusual.
Yeah, no, I love the way that cluster is perched up there at the very tip of that one.
Like a star or a rose, very unusual.
Super.
Yeah, so the book is separated into 8 chapters, and each chapter covers an area in Slovakia.
A different region.
Which is very specialized in some specific minerals. Of course, it covers some of the most famous areas like Chemnitz, Kremnica, Libeten, Heregrund, also eastern Slovakia, where Dubnik opal was found.
And I do want to point out that there is, I think you have both languages,
Yes,
Slovak and you have
Slovak and English.
and English. And so this is English page. So
Yeah.
really everybody can enjoy this and they
Yeah.
can understand the stories behind the
Yeah,
images that
yeah.
we're seeing.
And what I also did was for each chapter, I asked someone, either a local collector or a professional mineralogist, to make like a page review on this. So a lot has been written in cooperation with other.
Fantastic. So it's a true collaborative effort here.
Yes, yes. And there are also some minerals in situ, some which I found. Like for example, this one I found
You field
many
collected
years
that,
ago.
right?
I field collected this one. It was a big chunk, and it stayed in the attic for many years. Then I trimmed it myself,
Right.
and I cleaned it. And then I was like, wow, why did I have it in the attic for so long? Almost throwing it out.
Right. Yeah.
And it came out
That's super
good enough to be used as the back cover.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific.
So there are other.
So Albert, where can somebody get a copy of this book?
Well, for right now, there are copies available at Anton Batzel Mineral Booth.
Okay.
Also at Ludmila Hečko, the Mineralogical Almanac booth.
Super.
But after the show, so you can see me in person, and I can sign a book for you. But when the show is over, I'll try to do the logistic and try to send books to anyone who is really interested.
Okay, so they can
myself.
contact you via email.
Email or Instagram or on Facebook.
All right. Well, your email address is up on the screen, so people can use that email to reach out directly if they're interested in asking you questions or acquiring a copy of the book. So that is fabulous. Congratulations. Great job. In the background, over your left shoulder here, we've got a couple prints from your ice series.
Yeah.
And I've seen this one before because I think that or a very similar one was at that Tellure exhibit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this was at the Tellure.
I'm not sure about the exhibit, but both are included in my previously self-published book.
Yeah. And that book is still available.
Yeah.
And this is what the book looks like. And of course, we know that ice is a mineral.
Yes.
So this is a mineral book. And the one thing that, you know, I said it during the interview up at Tellure. I've said it many times as we've had you on different parts of the program. I always love photography, mineral photography, that makes you look at something in a different way. And that's something that you always do. Let's take this, let's crack it open just real quickly. Show the viewer some of these. Look at this. It's like brain coral here.
Yeah. What I did was, over the years when I was visiting local mines, mainly in Chemnitz, which is not too far from my house, I realized it's so much more interesting to do photography of ice than to collect local minerals.
Oh, I thought you
and
were
then
gonna
I
say
learned.
It's more interesting to take photographs of ice than collecting ice. Because that would
of
be
course.
a collection that wouldn't last very long.
No, it would be very difficult to maintain.
I love these.
But I learned when ice stalagmites start to melt, they start to thaw, they create very unusual etching surfaces. And so I got into detail of this. And over many years, over 10 years, when I was doing the photos, some people thought I was totally crazy because it was taking many hours at a time to produce just a few photos. And many of my friends hated me for this when I took them along because they almost froze. And they became really bored because it takes a very long time to make some of these images. But then I decided it's time to make a book on this, so I self-published.
And I love these because this is actually the surface underneath the ice that's coming up, reflecting or being transmitted to what almost looks like the surface there.
Yeah.
These
it's totally flawless ice because it's being created very slowly by dripping
so there's
water.
No air in it.
No, almost. Sometimes there's some bubbles, but what you get, the strange coloration is usually reflection of the background.
Yep.
Or some refraction
Yeah, somewhere.
within the ice.
Yeah, super. Albert, great job. Always happy to see the new things that you're doing. Anybody who's interested in either one of these books or prints, get in touch with Albert at the email on the screen. And look forward to seeing you at future shows, buddy.
Thank you very much, Brian.
All right, cheers.